Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. PsychicTarot.ca, book your tarot reading and unlock your spiritual journey. And the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to Season 5 and episode number 72 of the True North Eager Beaver Interview Project, also known as episode number 672 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. Always 100% Canadian. Today, recording day is Wednesday, June 18th, 2025, and it is a bit of a gray day here at the Beaver Lodge. A big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and PsychicTarot.ca. We have an interview, a conversation for you today that's a little bit out of the ordinary for our usual fare. But as you know, we like to talk about cultural elements as well as political elements, and we do like to talk about Canadians who make us proud, and that's what we're going to be doing today. But before we go into that, Mr. Grizzly, how's your mental health today, sir?
Sorry, I had my mic on mute there. I'm better, a little better than I was yesterday. I didn't get much sleep the night before, which is why I had to take yesterday off because I was just a mess. I'm a little better today than I was yesterday. I'm still not 100%. Some sort of, I don't know what it is, virus of some type where no headache, no flu-like symptoms, no coughing, no sneezing, but every muscle in my body hurts. I don't know what it is, but it's not enough to stop me. It's just enough to slow me down.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And, I feel fatigue. Somebody says, "Oh, it must be long COVID." I'm like, "Well, I've never had COVID, so I don't know how it could be long COVID."
Mm-hmm. And it's not typical for allergies because I'm not sure allergies cause you the achy pain, right?
No, they don't. And I'd have, sneezy, wheezy, itchy, watery. None of those things exist right now. So I don't know what it is. Although a friend of mine went through the same thing on was it Saturday or Sunday? He said the same thing. He was getting ready to go meet some people, and so I don't know. Whatever this is, it seems to be a bug, but I think it's slowly leaving my system. So
could it be just stress releasing? I mean, now that you know that you'll be starting a job again and whatnot. I mean, you have been working pretty hard at finding one.
Yeah. That's entirely possible. I mean, stress has weird ways of showing because I don't feel stress in my head 24/7. And I'll attribute that to being a little bit older, being a hair wiser, hair being the I don't have any, so that's the joke. But also medication and therapy have helped me to see things differently. At one point in time, I would feel stress 24/7 throughout my entire body, and it was, front of mind anxiety. I still have those things, but the anxiety in my life is much different than it used to be because of the medication. So I think largely you might be right about that. It's just stress leaving the body in a way that I've never experienced before. So it could entirely be that. I mean, yes, I'm going to be starting a new job in a few weeks, but between now and then, it's slim.
And I mean, starting a new job is also stressful as well, right? FFTs, effing first times.
No,
So,
actually,
right.
the only thing that's stressful to me, and it's just a slight bit of anxiety, is uh, what's the start date? Which building am I at? And who am I meeting? That's it. The rest of the job I can do in my sleep.
Okay.
Like
Cool.
the actual work part, I'm like, I read through the entire scope, and I'm like, oh, that's nothing. I can.
Yeah. But new
I'm
environment, new
completely,
people, new politics.
yeah, but I'm completely the right man for this job.
Oh, well then good.
Yeah.
That's good.
No, after reading through the scope, I'm like, oh yeah, I can. Yeah, this is. Yeah, I'm going to enjoy this.
Oh, good stuff.
So
All right. Kids and Cubs, for those wondering, doing significantly better today. Thanks. Tomorrow I've got the appointment with the orthopedic surgeon there for my foot to see whether or not I will be out of the air cast in 2 weeks and then walking in about 4, or whether or not I have to go through more. So keep your fingers crossed for me, your eyes and your arms too, maybe your toes, that I don't have to have additional surgery. And of course, we'll talk. We normally go into a little bit and we talk about the Stanley Cup stuff, and we won't talk about it too much. But Oilers,
well, I said 6 games. I got that part right.
yes,
Victor wrong. And you know that the funny thing is, the last 2 games I watched them, and I'm like, if they don't start playing defense, they're going to lose.
Yeah.
And that was their problem. Their offense was good. I mean, they only had a couple of decent scoring opportunities last night, truthfully, even though they outshot Florida.
Yep.
Florida's defense just shut them down.
Yep.
And Edmonton was not doing that. They were
Yep.
letting guys park themselves in front of the net. People were screaming for Skinner's head, and I go, the first goal, okay, he should have had that. Everything thereafter,
Yep.
no. I
Yep.
mean, he was screened, and he got a piece of that one.
Yep.
It's like, why is the defenseman not pushing that guy out of the way?
Yeah.
He just let him stand there. They let them walk right in. No, Edmonton has themselves to blame for this one, and I'm putting it on the heads of the defense. They just didn't show up.
Yeah, once Florida got up 2-0, they just shut it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we were watching the game, Bridget and I, last night, and she says, God, if they score again, that's it. I said, yeah, you're right. It's done. It's not like Edmonton can't come back from 3 goals, but the way that game was going,
Yeah.
Florida was not letting them.
Yeah, exactly.
Florida's defense was just too damn good.
One more year without Lord Stanley coming home.
Well,
all right. Well, while I will dress in black and mourn post-show, today, yours truly cleaned up a little bit and put on some nice clothes because, as you know, Kits and Cubs, as your Royale Queen Beaver with Royale with cheese Queen Beaver, the kids demand and love glamour and fashion. Well, today, your queen lives to serve by having brought in another queen to the show. Our guest, ladies and gentlemen, is a hopeful for the Miss Universe Canada 2025 title. So yes, Kits and Cubs, we will be talking about it all today. The hair, the walk, the lights, the sash, the crown, all of it. Now, Canada, of course, is no stranger to pageant success, right? Ashley Callingbull, Mrs. Universe 2015 and Miss Universe Canada 2024. So she will be handing the crown down, and our guest hopes to be able to inherit it. Our guest is a Hungarian Canadian, currently living on the West Coast. She has agreed to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning, her time, to do this with us. We've told her she didn't have to, but she wanted to, and we are very, very grateful because she wanted to be able to interact with you, the Damn Fam, in the chat. She has a strong record of community service. She was raised in the tight-knit community of East Vancouver, driven by a passion for mental wellness and advocacy and creative expression through helping others, art, and storytelling. Kids and Cubs, if you would, please put your paws up and give a big round of applause for Miss Kamilla Mihalik. Welcome to the Beaver Lodge.
That was so sweet. Thank you so much. It's always
Oh,
so surreal listening to others speak about me. Like, I appreciate all the kind words. I really, really do. It's a
ah,
tough industry, you know?
yes, can imagine. As we do for all our guests, how is your mental health doing today?
It's funny. Yesterday was a hard day. The
Okay.
entire organization had a bit of a blow, but we all are very just resilient in our advocacies, and we're just gonna keep on trekking because there's only about 49 days until we all land in Windsor. So it's just a little blip. I'm actually not allowed to talk about it so much, but hopefully it'll correct itself, and then every woman will get that opportunity that they really wanted to get out of this. But I mean, it's been so transformative as of this moment because we have a new director. He is Sunny Borelli from Windsor, Ontario, and his side of the pageant community has always been known as being the queen maker of Canadians on the East Coast, and just a lovely gentleman to be around, always positive spirits and high energy, which I love because if anyone knows me, I'm a ball of energy. Everyone's
Oh,
calm down. I'm like, I can't. It just gets me really excited. It doesn't matter. I'm like, okay, yeah, we got this. Everyone good? Okay, let's do it.
right. Well, without trying to pry, I'm hoping that whatever it was, it does, once you are able to move past that, that it does create an opportunity for everything to be better afterwards.
I think so. Thank you. Thank you. I know. I just want to tell everyone what happened. We're like, contracts.
Yeah, and absolutely.
Mm.
Yes. Um, since we are talking about mental health, and we were
Mhm.
discussing a little bit, it seems that there is a cause this year, a humanitarian cause for the pageant that's actually related to the mission over here. We just had our mental health walk that we host every year on the Saturday before Father's Day to try to um, break the stigma of men speaking about their mental health. And it seems that the beneficiary this year for the pageant is the Canadian Mental Health Association. And I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit more about what your goals and what your objectives are.
So I did compete last year and I got super sick during the week, so I wasn't able to give my best
Mm,
foot forward. I had to kind of stay away from everybody. I didn't want to continuously give whatever I was giving. I hugged the wrong girl upon arrival and she didn't know she was sick, so it was just close
oh,
contact and then
Mm.
automatically
yeah.
I was like not feeling well. So I signed up right away and I was kind of watching the updates just like anybody on their social medias because there wasn't direct updates as of that moment. And then it's just been interesting it because they've added more days, they've changed the charity as that what we're talking about. So I was working with SOS Children's Villages last year. Every single girl, we raised about $100,000 collectively.
Nice.
And right, the year before they raised even more. It was $250,000. We had some really big hitters. But this year they decided to focus more on Canadian concerns with which is as of right now definitely mental health advocacy and mental wellness. So my online initiative last year, I was only about to reach around 30,000 people. So that's how come I ended up going on X because I was really, really looking forward to find out more about Canadian ethos, like what is really going on within our communities, not just in the bigger cities, but the smaller cities, maybe some of our obscured, marginalized communities. I mean, I do come from East Van, so I've very much worked in harm reduction, with addiction and comorbidities and all that kind of stuff that we don't usually talk about, and
Right.
we just see the sensationalized headlines of oh my goodness, what's going on, and being in this part of philanthropy, I always did my work on the down low because going into these communities with, oh, I am this, and that, it's not well received.
Right.
So I went on X back in last year, November, and I found the Canadian communities, and it was so refreshing, to be very honest. And what I found was, it compared to a lot of the rough and tough mentalities of East Fan that I grew up in. And I love it. I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely more nighttime, rated R, not a lot to talk about it. And it kind of made me sad, because there's this whole community online that feels kind of left out and not heard, which isn't true, because there are people that listen. But I guess because I've never really had the spotlight. I've always been more of like woman empowerment, and I've worked with girls behind the scenes. I didn't want the spotlight. I wanted them to shine. So now coming in fully and saying, okay, this is me. What can I do to help? It's been a mixed reaction. And I kind of had to go through, I want to say, initiation process to know if I have like a thick skin or not, that I can handle the banter, because a lot of these people, I don't want to say men or women, because there are women on there. I don't like to stereotype the gender roles,
Right.
But definitely there's this need of authenticity and wanting people to be more real and just tell it how it is, and none of this like fluff, which is difficult, because I'm always like, what do you mean? Like, everything's so nice and rosy posy. Like, I made out of East Van. Like, you can too, right? Like, why not? Why not? But I have to, ground myself and say, not everybody's experiences are like mine, and not everybody turns to positivity, and they do tend to come out of it more of a blunt way, saying, no, this is the hill I'm going to die on. You take it or leave it, and I'm going to do it. And so I didn't go in saying, oh, I have all the solutions. I just kind of went in there and listened and appreciate the experiences that aren't being told in, I guess, communities that are, I just would say, sensationalized, because we always want to bring our best. But when you really look at Canadian history, we got some ugly history, but we have to, right? We got to embrace it and stop. I honestly think we need to stop looking at the past and focus on the now and what we can do together as a community, because it's so true. I'm from Hungary. We were once a big, beautiful nation, the Kingdom of Hungary. And then it splintered, it fractured, even though our hearts were in the right place. Like, for example, my family, back when, the war happened. So my grandparents were war babies. So they went through the worst of the worst, family members disappearing, neighbors being shot and thrown into the Duna River. So it's not nice. But the interesting thing about Budapest and Hungary is, if you go along the Danube, we call it Duna River, you can see the portions that they kept to remind us of the ugliness that can happen, and not to push it down, because life in itself is a duality. And personally, I do feel that if you don't experience those pains, then how are you going to experience those great ups and those great joys that life, because you have nothing to compare it to. Right. So if life is just one line and not up and down, then we're all just going to be
automatons, right?
Right? I don't want to be a robot. I want to fully embrace the human experience and everything life has to offer, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Well, the highs are better once you've experienced a low. So
exactly,
you really can take advantage of the high.
And you don't want to live in the middle third, because then you never get to experience the most joy, which means having to experience deep sadness as well, if you want the full richness of life.
Exactly. I'm very much about the full richness. And that's where I believe community is so important. Like your guys' community right here. How do you guys prefer gentlemen, men? How do you guys, does matter?
We call our overall community the Damn Fam.
The damn fans. See, so you guys can rely on each other, lean on each other. It's so important. So I've noticed that depending on the community, everyone's community has a different way of venting. Yes, some people might not agree with it, but that's why they're online on the dark pages of those web, because that's where they thrive. And I do believe that we can all learn from it and grow and evolve without shunning. If that makes sense. Because I feel like
Yes.
even though per se they might not be, I don't want to say enemy, but in business or in war, you're going to want to keep your enemies at the table. So at least you can negotiate, right? And you're not isolating each other because you want to share the information.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
with this humanitarian work right now for the Canadian Mental Health Association, but you've also done past humanitarian work. A lot of people, when it comes to pageants, right, they see the part that's on TV, the finals,
yes.
right? But there's a lot that comes before. So a lot of people were wondering, okay, yeah, humanitarian work, yeah, right. How much is it really? Is it really a big deal? Is it really significant, or is it just something that, we say we say that we do to give it legitimacy of some kind, but it's not really a big thing? Or is it really a core portion of what it is that this is about?
Yes, it is exactly 25% of our graded mark.
Okay.
So,
Wow,
so a good fourth. Yes.
That's a lot.
Yes, it's very important. And Miss Universe Canada has always been the leader personally in my eyes in the pageant world, because they've always were fearless and did whatever I guess wasn't seen as the right thing to do. And they've always pushed the boundaries, and they do correct themselves if it goes a little too far. They'll, the same thing. They don't, they go, okay, this way. Oh no, go back. We got it. And then sometimes it's here, sometimes it's there. And our old director, Dennis Davila, so he's from Nicaragua. So his main, well, at least from what I remember, is that he always said that I really hope that you don't just stop your work here, that you continue to do good in those communities and continue to have the ripple effect that is so important in what we do. Because a lot of the times we're not celebrated. We're, especially in the larger community as a whole, they look at the delegation and they're just like, what's going on? This is not what I'm used to. They're used to very much the polished, I don't want to say plastic, but very much aesthetic based. Whereas Miss Universe Canada definitely leads with her heart.
So it's not a thin veneer of
no.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we have all the delegates up now on the app, the Miss Universe Canada app. Voting is now open, and our little bios are on it. And some women do choose to come without the face, the makeup, and they're pushing for more of a homey aesthetic or a natural aesthetic, and being true to themselves naturally, which I think is beautiful. I mean, but then we have the old pageant in there too, the pageant aesthetic, because at the end of the day, when we do go to Miss Universe, it very much is still there. It's very much important because, let's face it, not everybody's on the same trajectory as a nation and what they find important. So it's very much about balancing the needs of outside perspectives and what is truly important in your heart.
I like
find balance.
Yeah, I like what you said about it's in your heart and what the Canadian tradition is, because again, one would assume, if you didn't really know what was going on, that if you're doing a pageant, that if you're doing your humanitarian work still has to be, for lack of a better word, ladylike. So if you're volunteering in the downtown east side where it's a little grittier and that type of stuff, well, I mean, you are doing work, but maybe not like that, right?
Yes. And when you're down there, I mean, I had a child, so he's 4 years old. So I've been living in Winnipeg, and I kind of refocused my efforts towards the Aboriginal community there. My son is Indigenous, so I'm very intimately aware of the struggles that they go through, and my heart definitely bleeds when I hear some of the atrocities and all those things that Canada has had.
We did.
But growing
We did it.
yes, we did. It's not nice, but we have to admit it and move forward. You gotta fall forward, not backwards.
Right. So given this, I assume that you don't just wake up one day and say, I'm doing Miss Universe Canada, and you've probably had some pageant history from before, right?
I did. I
How
was
many?
a late boomer.
Ah,
2013.
okay.
So almost 15 years. But I grew up in front of the camera. I grew up reciting Hungarian poetry to my family. I would go back to Hungary and learn about that cultures and our Hungarian lore and recite the poetries and the little things. And I come back here, and my father would record everything and then send VCR tapes back to the grandparents so they wouldn't miss a beat. So early on, I was my brother is just disliked. What? No. So I got kind of more encouraged so they don't have to do it. But I enjoyed it. I've always enjoyed not entertaining per se, but more like, I guess in a traditional sense, like, when you go home to the family and I don't know who's making your meals or setting the table. And well, traditionally it was the females in Hungarian culture, but now it's changing there too. But it's just a core part of my essence that I want everyone to have a good time, because I know how difficult it is when they're out there doing whatever they need to do to survive or provide or just live life. So I always enjoyed that hospitality. And then I was in modeling and like commercial, and I dabbled a little bit when I was younger. So about 11, 12, and 13, because that's when, back in the 90s, that's when you would get quote unquote discovered. But I wasn't the right body type. I'm very much more masculine, muscular, broad shoulders, strong back, and it was always, that booty is way too big. They turn around, they're like, the dog.
Yeah.
Well, things have changed since then, right?
Right? So I'm like, wait, why wasn't I born 10 years later? Just natural booty up on that stage. But no, it forced me to focus on hospitality. So I thrived in the hospitality industry. I ended up doing a lot of openings for like restaurants and casinos, and I worked actually all up and down the West Coast. And I took those, I guess, skills from acting and theater. I had some theater background as well, modeling, of course, and I used it to craft that experience when you go into the restaurant, the club, or the casino. So kind of amalgamated into this personality of mine, which was always hostess with the mostest, larger than life. Like, she is just, who is this person? And I allowed people to really let their creativity and flow. Or some of the clients that would come back to my bar, for example, they would just be there because it was their first feeling of, oh, I could be myself and nobody's judging. I'm like, no, of course not. You just have a good time. Tell me all your problems, all your secrets. A bit of a secret keeper for sure. And it just worked. It worked. So it was interesting, because then I started to grow into, because I always loved creating. So even though I stepped back for a little bit after being rejected from all the major modeling and agencies when I was younger, it didn't upset me. It just kind of forced me to take the skill set that I know and apply it somewhere else.
Right.
And in that sense, I became an independent creative. And that's when I really started saying, I need to go to pageantry, because that was really the only community that was encouraging people to really delve into themselves and what they find to be important. And Miss Universe Canada is the one that was, okay, this is the one. It's the, you're no longer a small fish in a big pond. No more a small fish in a small pond. You're a small fish in a big pond.
Right.
So it was 2013, I did Miss Vancouver as a little local pageant, totally fell in love. 2014, I did Miss Universe Canada. Oh, I just fell in love even more. It was this whole community of woman empowerment. My mentors I met were just so extraordinary, and a lot of the humanitarian portion aspect of the pageant itself wasn't talked about as much 10 years ago. So that's what I really focused on. I was like, wow, you just don't know unless you sit down and talk to these wonderful women about how long they've been helping their communities and what good they have done in the world. And that's when I really started becoming confident in my, I guess, private sector, because these are the types of companies that don't want to be on this in the spotlight and instead want to work on things in private, because not everybody wants to be in the spotlight. So I really, really embrace that aspect, because that's actually where I've done the most change, where what I'm not allowed to talk about because of contract stuff. But I will say that the Indigenous community in East Vancouver is amazing. And as I call it, Turtle Island, I met a lot of influential leaders who I had no idea have been shaping Canada to what it is today and helping out the less fortunate, the marginalized. And it just warms my heart that it wasn't just me trying to help, it was other everyday people that you would never know, because you look at them and they're wearing a t-shirt and their hair is crazy, or not fitting the stereotype of what a humanitarian looks like, because they're not yelling on top of a hill.
I wanted to ask you, well, there's a few questions we have here, just some basic ones, but I had something that was a little bit, it pertains to, you said you grew up in East Van, correct?
Yes. Hastings Sunrise.
Okay, so downtown East Side, Hain and Wastings, as it's often referred to.
It's literally the poorest postal code in all of North America.
So yeah, if you could go into that a little bit to let the viewers and listeners know a little bit more about that part of the country, because I don't know if everybody is well aware of the situation. I am. I have friends that live in Van. Haven't been to Van City in a long time, mind you. I am due for a visit, and I have family and friends out there, so I need to get back soon. But if
it's difficult, it's hard to go back.
Yeah, but if you could share with us what East Van, the downtown East Side, what it's really like you said, it's the poorest community in North America.
Growing up, I grew up, I don't know if you know the corners of Nanaimo and Dundas. So it's the trucker route that goes down from the one. So it is the Trans-Canada Highway. And I was growing up in BC housing, Kawasa. So it does have an Indigenous program there as well. And I'm not going to lie, I will tell you the deets. I grew up being warned to behave or get fed to the pigs. Robert Pickton.
Right.
So this was already in my psyche at a very, very young age. And the amount of mental, I don't want to say disease, but just uncomfortableness was met with community. The community is very, very important, because I don't think without it, it's important. I don't know how else to explain it, but I was a latchkey kid. My parents both worked very hard being refugees or immigrants. I don't exactly know, but they worked fleeing post-communist grip Hungary. So it was definitely a different time, and they really wanted to set free of the grayness that was Hungary at the time. So I was left to my own devices. And I remember, I don't know how old I was, but my youngest memory involving police was when I was going home. So it was about the last bus route. We were taking one of our friends. He was a local sponsored skateboarder, but he was about 16 years old, and he had alcohol addiction problems. So a lot of the time we would be we'd be drinking in the number 4 bowl, which is this Hastings Park. Hastings, but we were drinking at 14. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Well, I was like 12. Alcohol never really bothered me because it was a part of our culture already. So,
Right.
you know, having a little glass of wine at the dinner table wasn't unheard of for the younger kids. So for me, it was never an issue. But I could see when I'd go hang out with my other East Van friends, they're drinking bottles, and I'm like, oh no. So us girls, we would be helping the boys back on the bus, and, you know, let's take you home. And there was this one time we were on Main and Hastings at 2 a.m, and one of the boys, he wasn't as drunk as the other boy, but he just bolted down the street, and I'm running after him. I'm like, I don't even notice that, you know, there's everything else because I'm so focused on my friend. I'm like, come back here, you gotta take the last bus or you're gonna get stranded here again, you know? And so I grab him, and I grab my girlfriend, who wasn't as she wasn't from East Van, but she was drinking with us that day. And she's like, what are we doing here? We are gonna die. I'm like, no, we're fine. So we go back and we grab these 2 people. And then, of course, when we go back to Main and Hastings, because we ran down Hastings a block, and the guy's in handcuffs because he's so wasted. And right, I was like, he's going in the drunk tank. And unfortunately, it was a normal occurrence for him because he had went through some really harsh realities in his family. But I was like, oh, shoot. And then the cops come to me, and I was like, I swear I'm not drunk. I'm just helping her. What bar did you go to? Where are you getting your alcohol from? I'm like, I swear it was just, no, don't tell my parents. Right? So it was interesting because they were alarmed because it was a group of young children. I mean, we were anywhere from 11 to 16.
Wow.
People always thought I was older. I looked much older for my age. And when I would tell them my real age, they'd be in shock. So I got actually into a habit of just telling everybody I was 19 because it gave me a little bit more influence and authority to be helping out my younger drunk friends. So I don't want to say I ignored it, but I was just so used to being in that area that you kind of knew where not to go, what corners were dangerous. The alleys, I mean, even back then were just scary, some of them, especially the ones between Hastings and I think it's Corral. Those ones are the most littered, I guess, with the paraphernalia and the human feces and all that kind of stuff. But it's interesting because I didn't see it as horrible. I just saw it as this is people's struggles, and this is their chance to make it out the mud. And I was there to assist in any way I could, whether it just be a helping hand or a smile or looking in their eyes was a big one. Yeah, so it was a lot of that. That was my first altercation with the cops. And I went home that night and I told my parents, and they're like, what do you expect? You're always trying to save everybody. You can't save everyone. You're going to get into trouble. I'm like, I'm already in trouble. Like, I'm sorry. And then you start to I mean, this was so long ago. It's definitely changed now. But back then it was smaller and not as it was more concentrated into that few block radius, whereas now I'm going back to visit family on the 20th, so I'm gonna go take a look. But there are YouTube channels that do show the reality of what they go through every day, and it's heartbreaking, because it's just heartbreaking. I just want to help and I want everyone to get better, but some people just, that's their struggle. I don't know how else to explain it. You just can't help everyone.
Well, it's often referred to as pain and wastings instead of Maine and Hastings because of what takes place there, right?
Yes, it is. But that's the duality, right? You have the bottoms of the bottom and the highs of the highs. Yes, I don't know what to say. It's I don't want to say that I'm going online and really talking to different Canadians who have never really experienced it and want to just lock them all up and put them away and push them down farther. And they really think that being tough on crime and tough on drugs is going to help. But what in actuality it does is just put the problem further down and put it more into the underground where it thrives, right? The more it's get pushed away from the public eye, the more the takers of this world can abuse that vulnerability and manipulate it to their own financial gain. Let's be serious. Like, this is a lot of people's bread and butter, and they don't want it to go away. I mean, the amount of people that come up here from other countries just to get that bag, is the reality we're facing. So I don't want to keep rambling on, but when I was in university, we were talking about the fentanyl and carfentanil crisis back then, and my professors were psychology and law, neuroscience, psychopharmacology, and they were in court in the policy making, and they were trying to sound the alarms back then, and it fell on deaf ears, and that is so unfortunate, because I feel like if they would have listened, then it wouldn't have been this crisis that we see today.
Yeah. Now, speaking of duality, you volunteered in that side, but you also mentioned SOS Children's Village, and I see in your bio that you've also been a volunteer basketball coach for kids.
Yes.
So you have that gritty side, but you also work with kids. What is the attraction on that side of the humanitarian work?
So as I was, rejected from Hollywood, I focused more on my athletic abilities, because I was an all-around athlete back in my elementary school days. I won a ton of awards and Athlete of the Year, and I was competing with people 4 times my so about 4 times older than me. I think it was the biggest. And when I went into high school, I noticed there was a lack of funding for females in sport. And I just saw this need, and I needed to, once again, I just got to help everybody when I can. So I decided not to play basketball in my 12th year. So my grade 12, and I was assistant basketball coach grades 10, 11 for grade 4, 5, 6, 7. And it was actually a junior Grizzlies program back when the Grizzlies were in Vancouver. Yep. So I fell in love with coaching, and I mean, I love basketball. It's my favorite sport. And then when I went to high school, and I saw that if the community within itself didn't have the parent athletic committees where they would fundraise for, jerseys, shoes, practice time, bus, gas, all that kind of stuff, then it was just simply not there. And it broke my heart, because a lot of these children from East Vancouver are extremely talented, right? So I was like, you know what, like, let's not focus on me, because I mean, I was good, but I knew my limitations, and my heart has always been like, let's help people. And I then coached for about 7 years because I bet you if you go back to that high school, there'll be volunteer positions available for female sports still. Like, it's just very difficult to get those positions filled. Very difficult. So I was just, you know what, let me do it. And it was so rewarding because these are the girls that kind of get left behind. I don't want to say left behind, but there's so many issues in East Van. Like, there's just not enough where you're supposed to put your attention to. So if you do have some sort of niche, like basketball or say the arts or anything that you can help volunteer, and it's always really good on your resume too, right? So it's not exactly a fully you're just giving your time up for whatever. There's good things involved. And then they just motivated me. They're like, wow, like, you're so good. I had red hair at one point too. I had this contractor with Revlon, so I was just red hair, just whatever they needed, right? Like, they wanted to play basketball and I was proficient at coaching, and that's what it was. It was just that simple. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And then it was so hard not to leave, but I had to at one point because, work and family, and it's so much of your time. I was working full time at one point and volunteering, and it was exhausting, the demands of volunteering and just keeping your life together, but it was worth it. Definitely worth it. I don't know if you saw, I had an interview when the last year I only had 5 girls, so I didn't even have a sub, and they made the finals and we made it on the global, right? It was just, yay, like, we did something with 5 girls. It was just a sense of accomplishment. And if you see the interview, it's still on, and I think it's YouTube, but you can Google it or grok it if you're on X. And there's a girl that my heart just went out to her because she's like, this is where I can let out my frustrations. She also was working. She also had high expectations, and it was the only space where she's like able to just let it all go. And this is very important, especially because I made them run like crazy. I'm like, oh yeah, you guys want to win? Well, you all running for 1 hour and 20 minutes straight, breathing exercises, running and weightlifting. And they're like, this is crazy. I'm like, well, if we're going to win, we're going to have to pull some crazy miracles out of our little tushies, because it is not easy without subs. And we did it. And it was, I hope that they take that for the rest of their lives, and they see it as, triumph over adversity, and they got to experience, lights, camera, action a little bit with the interviews. Spotlight was shown on us, and not those pesky rich West Side kids. It was always the East versus West rivalry, and they were so upset that we got the interview and they didn't. I'm like, well, you guys always get everything else. So
you got to put in the work if you want the rewards.
Oh yeah.
Now, moving on to the pageant stuff, because as we were talking about before, the humanitarian work is 25%. What else happens in the preliminary? What are the other categories? What is expected?
Oh, so the fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we have, of course, traditionally the evening gown and swimsuit portions. Those are also 25% of our total grade. And then for me, probably the most difficult portion would be the interview, is 25%. And their style is speed dating. So it's 3 minutes per judge. And you stand there, backs facing them. They write the little note, and then you turn around and they ask questions, and then 3 minutes go, like, don't blink, because then it's over, and then you stand up and go to the next one. So I always I'm doing it again, I'm just rambling. I've been trying to learn to be more succinct and precise
I do it all the time
with my answers, because you have 3 minutes to make an impression, and I'm just like, I'm just happy to be here.
Wow, that's interesting. So it's It's not like one table with a full panel and then you say you get
No,
billed for 20
yeah.
minutes. It's 3 minutes with each. So
Yes.
no,
And
the other
it's
judges don't get to see the quality of your answer that you gave to. Okay, that's interesting.
right.
Because
And then they all talk about the answers because they write a note on each girl when they're talking, and then they all collaborate at the end, and then they talk about who stood out to them and what maybe their strengths and weaknesses. And I did get feedback last year was, Cami, you're the same. What's different about you? I was like, I was really sick and I didn't want to give you all everything quite yet because I knew I was going to come back. I was like, oh, I'm coming back with the full force. But the interesting part was you have to sit and stand, and you're standing, and then you see your back, and then you turn, right?
Okay.
Do something, and then you have 3 minutes. You get up, go to the next table. And last year, one of our judges was a surprise judge. I don't know if you know Nova Stevens. She was Miss Universe Canada 2021. Okay. So that was so exciting because she was tucked away in the corner. So you didn't know that she was even there until you got to your last interview. You're like, oh, shoot, that's a queen.
Oh
but there was also Chelsea. She's like Queen Mom. She's Miss Universe 2011 was there. And then we had a Miss Eco International, Amber Bernacci was there. So very high status, queenly vibes where you're like, oh dear, what are they thinking about this East Van little crazy girl trying to be composed and proper?
I'm a little familiar with pageantry in the sense that I've come from the rainbow community, and we have drag queens and there's a whole bunch of pageants and all.
I love the drag queens.
And the advice that everybody keeps on giving everyone, it's like, just be yourself, right? Which is like, I understand it, but it's absolutely in some ways just useless in another way, right? So
useless. Exactly.
What does just be yourself really mean when you're in that environment?
I think it is definitely not comparing. This is definitely what a lot of the contestants struggle with, especially if you're new. If you're one of the rookies and coming in, it's so hard not to compare yourself and look at the queens and be like, she looks nothing like me. I don't fit in. And that's when it's like, no, you cannot, because every person does have a unique sense of self and they bring something different to the table. So a lot of the advice from coaches and mentors is to lean on your strengths. It is a time to focus inward and let the judges do the judging. It is about the sisterhood after all. It's not about tearing each other down. It's so difficult. It's so transformative. And if you're going to look at it like, oh, well, this is not how things should be. It's like, well, then you've already lost because you're self-sabotaging in that sense. Because how are you going to know what's exactly in your heart and what you bring to the table if all you're doing is looking at everybody else's stuff, really? So it really is about looking inward and the uniqueness of what you have been through.
And how do you do that?
I still haven't figured it out. 15 years. I'm like, what? You give them the bikini. It's no, you don't want that. You give them the polish. No, you're like everyone else. So this year I'm focusing much more on my Hungarian heritage and the mythological creatures that have guided me, like the turtle bird, which was a mythological bird that led the indigenous Magyars, the Hungarians, to the Carpathian Basin. So I've been using the mythology, the lore of Hungary to really inspire me. And then I learned Grok. I have to give a shout out to XAI. It is a fabulous AI. I've used a lot of AI before, but for some reason, this one just really resonates with me. And we started getting into lore and how much is lost. And Hungary's books have been burnt, and rewritten and very difficult to translate because it is a very ancient language. So I'm able to bring a new light on what is going on in Hungary, because right now it is colored as kind of negative, and it's hard to hear because the Hungarian heart is very much about helping your fellow people. It really is. But as of right now, the country has been in decline. Like, I mean, everything's just lost, right? And so right now they really want to keep it alive before it completely disappears. And it's kind of been lost in translation that, oh, they are just a bunch of, you know,
Yeah, we've heard.
right, it is what it is, but it's really not that. It really is just, it's just a sense of fear that everything's just going to be erased, and we don't want that. Because everything's beautiful, really. Just like how each person brings a unique flavor to our beautiful universe, so does every country, in my opinion. I mean, in my opinion, I think everyone has something different to contribute country-wise.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I think globally, and as evidenced by the Anthony Bourdain show, the thing that unites people cross-culturally is food.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
So it's
so good.
You could be from any walk of life, and somebody sits down together at a table for a meal, and that food just, you're able to connect differently. So your culture, I think the differences in the culture falls away and your similarities come together at that point. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just my
No, you're so right. It's beautifully said.
Well, thank you.
Beautiful.
Every now and then I say something smart.
Something same, right? We're just rambling on. I'm like, wait, that's good. That was a good one. Let me write it down.
So what portion of the contest, like, are all those 4 things preliminary, or is there like 100% preliminary and all the scores are thrown out and then you do this stuff?
Yes.
So
Yes.
those
So
4 segments are all preliminary.
yes. So 25%.
Wow.
Let's go back over humanitarian, interview, swimsuit, evening gown. And then once you make, this year's going to be the top 25.
Okay.
With 5 fast tracks.
What are fast tracks?
We have, right now we have the People's Choice. So if you want to vote, you can vote on our Miss Universe Canada app. First vote is free. So if you win that, automatically top 25.
Okay.
There's also, I'm drawing a blank because
Photogenic?
it's early. No, that is a special award.
Okay.
But there is, oh my goodness, I think it's best. Wow. I am drawing a blank because I'm so focused on People's Choice Award. Let me check my notes. But it's pretty much 5 fast tracks that guarantee you a spot in the finals. And once you're in the finals,
we're still here.
Oh, hello. That's
still
me.
here. Yeah. Well, you were saying photogenic, so and Douglas brought
Oh,
up.
I think that's actually a Fadil Bashira headshot from 2014. I love these photos. He is such a that's me.
He's able to get luminescence in your eyes. It's fantastic.
He does a good job with the eyes, and things are outside. We were outside that year, so it was not easy.
That's trickier.
Pointed that, those light things that go into the eyes. This is Mr. Ian from Winnipeg. He has never done a pageant headshot, so I'm very happy that we got the shot.
Wow,
the shot.
That is fantastic.
I'm just gonna pull up the notes because I got so much on my mind.
Well, and then of course I have to show this photo because it's the flow.
Do it.
The flow, the hair, the flow. I mean, my goodness gracious.
Oh, I thank you. That was my little mini shoot in my kitchen in Winnipeg.
I would kill for hair like that because obviously I have none, but my goodness gracious.
You can get some, my dear. We can put on a wig.
Yeah.
Expensive.
That's actually I'll do a little plug for 06. It's a new all Canadian woman led brand from Winnipeg, and they went global because they were at the Bocelli had I think one of his daughters got married, so they were doing their hair there. So it's really good hair. I really liked it, and they put in this new technology with their those were tape-ins, and when they first put it on me, I was like, okay, I'm doing so much. It was so fun when you put in that hair, like you don't need to have it naturally. Okay, I found the fast track. So it's best body, best runway, people's choice, humanitarian, and best costume. So best national costume.
Okay.
And this year they're going to do a whole separate show that's going to be free of charge. Everything's in Windsor, Ontario. It's free of charge this year. I think it's on August 5th, where we're going to be doing like a little more informal costume presentation show, whereas last year it was fully on stage and we had to quickly get dressed and undressed, and you only had about 10 seconds on the stage. So it wasn't I don't know. I mean, I liked it, but they're trying to really highlight every girl's hard work, especially some of the girls' costumes, like Ashley Callingbull's. Did you see her costume last year?
Yeah.
She was an eagle and everyone.
Oh, yeah.
I know some of the contestants even make them themselves.
Yes. If you look at my tweet for Alyssa Boston, her marijuana leaf costume at Miss Universe, she made it herself.
Wow.
I just found out in the town hall. That's why I had to put it. I was like, what? This is epic. She made it herself. But yes, she competed at Miss Universe Canada a few times, and each costume she did herself. Very crafty.
Wow. Is that one on your X feed?
Yes. Go into photos. Right now it's just a bunch of bunnies.
No, I will definitely
having a little
find
fun.
That. Wow. So you mentioned earlier when I was asking you about just be yourself, and you were talking about the sisterhood. That's probably one of those things that every people that don't understand pageant worlds or just roll their eyes. Yeah, sisterhood. Yeah. What's the real deal on it?
Okay, good story. 2013, I met Carol Majar. She has two names. She goes by two names. She's a therapist. And I met her and I was in awe. She was a Miss Universe India finalist back in 2011. I'm not sure about that one. Oh, there she is. Yes, she made that herself.
Wow.
Dang.
Right?
That's something else.
So good. So good. She's actually our business relations executive. She's part of the executive team now for Miss Universe Canada. Very smart, very full of agency, very much. If you want to succeed in this industry, you have to have agency. You have to know how to capitalize, because Canada does not have the strong, we're technically called no sash. So we don't have the huge sponsors that we once did. So you really have to make it your own. So where was I? Sorry, I just got excited about the costume.
Sorry, I completely lost it too. I had
I was asking about the sisterhood.
The sisterhood.
Yes.
I have kept in contact with Carol since. I have followed her journey. She is so she's just lovely. And I'm not saying that every girl is going to be best friends, but there's enough, especially this year, there's 90 of us. If you can't find a best friend within 90 girls, then I don't know what you're doing. Then that's me. Hey, I don't know. There's 90 of us. There has to be some sort of compatibility. Put your birthdays into Grok, and he will let you know which one's the best friend that you need. But it really is. It's there's enough of us to find good friendships, and a lot like Alyssa and one of the directors, Ola, they competed together and they've known each other for a very long time. So it really is about finding your lobster, your pageant friend lobster.
That's a Friends reference for those of you who are unaware.
Oh man.
Gotta find your lobster. And I love humans. I just love humans. And I mean, like, that's why I went to school for psychology. I just really like the differences in individual behavior. There's definitely that unique individual spark that everybody has and that makes us unique. I really, really believe in that. So the pageantry just let everyone in unique beauty shine, and it's just beautiful. I love it. I can't. I mean, maybe you're looking for the dirt, but I don't have it.
No. Just the real, the real, not the dirt.
Is it real? I'm trying to think of the dirt.
What are there? I know that eligibility requirements and stuff like that have changed over the years. What are the eligibility requirements now for someone who would like to enter the contest?
For Miss Universe Canada, absolutely none. I love it. You could be whatever you want to be. You guys could come if you want. Honestly, they really are all about inclusivity. And I think this is why they're having a hard time, because they're letting as many people, like, it's very, very inclusive, and they really want everybody to take it for what it is and use it for their own personal development. So, I mean, Miss Universe Canada was the first pageant that let in a transgender, Jenna.
Right.
So that was the first one, you know. Then we had our quote unquote plus size Miss Universe. She wasn't plus size. I don't know why people think she was plus size, but she was a Miss Universe Canada. They went to Miss Universe, you know. So we do a lot of first. I mean, Ashley Callingbull, first Indigenous, right, to represent Canada at Miss Universe Canada. So a lot of firsts. So they're really trying to be the leader, I guess, if you can say, in the pageant world of how to embrace everybody's unique individual strengths. And then
I have an image of Jenna here for our audience to see.
Jenna. My mother actually worked with her, and there she is. Beautiful.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting.
And it's funny because at first Dennis was like, oh my God, are you crazy? All the negative exposure. And then Trump is the one who came down and said, no, let her in. So that's another against it, right? Everyone's like, wait, what?
Yeah, at the time.
It was actually Trump who made the final decision.
Yep. He said he changed the international one, and at the time, and that cleared the way.
We're so focused on all the evils he's done, but he's done some good too.
Yep, I remember that. It made big news. I believe we had talked about it either on the blog, because I think that was probably before we had the show. But I remember that one stood out specifically.
It was very interesting. So it's one of those things where you can't please everybody, and the main thing is about keeping the platform alive. It has such a legacy of such strong women. I mean, this was the interesting part, because so 2014, I aged out, had a big old cry. I was like, why did I do this so late? Like, it was just everything. It was in itself an extension of who I was with the categories. I mean, I've done swimsuit, I've done theater, I've done acting. But it was this independent creative in me that really appreciated that, hey, I could do whatever I want with this. It's all up to me. So I was disappointed, but I had Lynn from Montreal as my mentor. And she's like, Kamilla, why don't you come do this other pageant? It's less stressful. I know it's not what you really wanted, your dream, but I think you'd enjoy it. So I did Miss Swimsuit USA Canada. And I think I made, it was 6th so I was right in the middle out of, I think there was 15 of us. There is not a big pageant, but 2 of the girls ended up dropping out because of, you know, things happen. Sometimes it's just not their path. And I got the call to represent Vancouver at the World Finals. Oh, so if you Google me, you can see all the swimsuit photos in the magazines. But it was so fun. Oh my gosh. It was more lighthearted. It was definitely more swimsuit based. A lot of the girls now they go do Playboy and like more gentleman magazines, and they go to Swim Miami, and it's just a more lighthearted side of the industry and celebrating I guess health and fitness, you know?
Yeah.
Right. It's more like that. It's more because, you know, we have the OF girls, and not everybody wants to be full on OnlyFans. They want to do something else. So it's just another outlet to be in that self expression without fully having to be online. And
Yep.
it could
Absolutely.
be, it's a different industry. So it was fun. And I met a lot of the girls there, just amazing women. Last year, actually, JoJo from Texas, her man's proposed to her on stage. It was so cute. I was like, so I was just watching, like, oh my God, she's engaged now. She's such a lovely soul. And, a lot of women entrepreneurs. And I'll tell you one thing, Canadian pageantry is so different than American pageantry because, first of all, there's a lot more people, but the sponsors, like the judging panel at Miss Swimsuit USA International, there was like 50 of them. 50 judges. I had no idea going through that there were so many judges, because it goes kind of more of a business model. It says, hey, you want to come enjoy and be a part of this family? You could be a judge or a VIP, or you could just be a sponsor if you want and not actually mark, but it's different. So what I noticed is a lot of the business owners go back year after year because these women do one repost and then their bank account just rolling in money, right? So they really do appreciate that what is that relationship between man and woman, in a sense. So these men with businesses, then they help the girls. So it's a lot of girls that look for sponsorships within the community. But I always tell Canadians, you guys need to get into it. It's coming up June 21st in Toronto is our national final. And it's cute because it's definitely humble beginnings at Sousa Toronto, right?
Right.
Very humble. It was just a big party, and it was just trying to figure out what we're doing. But in its essence, it is about creating that safe space for women to do what they want to do, which is beautiful. It doesn't matter how much exposure it gets. It's an experience that you'll savor, for the rest of your. For me, I've always, it's my mentality. I just love it. I just love seeing the women smile, just to get away from the day-to-day, the expression through art and makeup and hair. Or if you don't want to do makeup and hair and you just want to solely focus on your body, that's also allowed too. So there are bodybuilders, and it's just it's a different route than per se being an influencer.
Interesting.
Just wanted to add a little footnote into June 21st, which is this coming Saturday.
Yes.
Not only is it summer solstice, but it is also National Indigenous Peoples Day, for those of you who
Oh, good to know.
Yes.
So maybe it's on the 22nd. Oh, very nice.
Yes. You mentioned the sponsorships. I assume hair, nails, hips, heels, sequins.
Yes.
I imagine that this is a rather expensive pursuit.
Yes.
Or can be. So how do you do that?
I'll continue with the story. So at Sousa, that is when I met my little studio, D Productions. He's actually passed away now, so may he rest in power. But he was the one that was just so excited for me, because going into Miss Universe Canada, I only had very little sponsors, like hair. I have to shout out Suki's, because that's actually part of their business model, is helping pageant girl, not just pageant girls, but if you need your hair done for a specific event, you could go into any Suki's in the West Coast, and they will do it for free, and they will sponsor your hair for that exchange of exposure. So that was actually my first deal. So that was 2014. In 2013 with Miss Vancouver, I worked with L'Oreal, so that was pretty interesting. But then when I went to Sousa, I had a community of BC models and photographers, and I just put it out there. I'm like, is there anybody in the community that's looking for that pageant exposure? Because it is a different different community. And Dean reached out and he's like, yes, you are my girl. I'm like, oh, me? What? It was so amazing. And I just remember we're all about creating fine art. And we really wanted to do a Mona Lisa. So he was my major sponsor for Susa. And he left, a huge impression on me. And as I got more and more pageant experience, my brand skills and identifying people who are interested, I just honed my skills in business of, instead of asking everybody, I can identify businesses that do want that exposure.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, when I was in Winnipeg, 2019 was my final Susa pageant right before COVID. And I won director's pick. So that was the first time I won anything on stage. I got to do like the stage photos. I was so excited. And I was supposed to do all the promotions for like they do the Texas rodeo, and you go around, and there's just a lot of opportunity to connect with more brands to make more money. And then COVID hit, and then, everything went away. And I mean, I lost my job. I lost all the opportunities. Everybody went through something, right? So it was very interesting. I got pregnant, and then we moved to Winnipeg, and I just kind of sat in a bubble for 2 years because the baby, and I was like, you know what? I've done a lot at that point. I had made a good amount of money, and I just started to invest things into specific. I bought a lot of gold.
Right.
Which I'm very grateful for.
Yeah, right. Especially right now.
Right. It like tripled. It's like, yay. Very, very smart in that sense. But then when I started getting more comfortable, the baby was getting bigger. I started looking at my bigger goal, which was I always wanted to have my own production. I wanted my own girls. I wanted, so not just volunteering and helping others, I wanted my own thing. Mm-hmm. So I started doing market research in Winnipeg, and why isn't there a pageant there? Is there interest? And wow, the interest was way bigger than I expected. They open arms. So my hair is from 06. I got my lashes from Catalina Artistry. My eyebrows are also from Catalina Artistry. I had 2 hair dye salon girls who were just ready to go. And then I had a lot of smaller clothing brands that are like, yeah, like, please help us. And I was like, you know what? I will model for you. I will do whatever you need. Like, it really is what the company needs. I can identify them and then help out in that way. And I have been told that I'm a bit of a Donna. So anytime I go, not like a diva Donna, like Donna from Suits.
Oh yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I love Donna.
Yeah,
right. So that's that archetype that, she wasn't an expert in anything, because I'm not. I never ended up finishing university because pageantry just called my name. I'm not gonna lie, I just fell in love. And it's really about being that person that can see where the team motivation is very important, and anywhere, whether it be in pageantry or it was in a professional job, or if profits go up within 6 months. And I don't like to toot my own horn, but it really is about creating that culture and identifying people's unique strengths, and then making sure that they're in the right positions, or seeing that if they're overwhelmed or if they need help, or honestly, a lot of the times it's just a little smile. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's definitely been my favorite part of the whole experience within pageantry and business, is that I can layer those experiences. And now our bio, it's not up right now because they're switching the website, so it's still under construction. But if you scroll down, each girl has, I think, 12 spaces for sponsorships. So a hyperlink gets put onto their bio, and it's on the internet forever. And then it's also in the show magazine. My main sponsor gets their logo in the show magazine, and then just pretty much knowing that as their brand ambassador, they're in good hands, and that I would never lead them astray, and I'm not gonna just ditch them after the pageant's done. So that's probably the most important, is that I've kept these relationships for the last 15 years. So slowly but surely those keep going.
Yeah, because then it increases.
You have to
go higher.
You got to build upon it. So I've just been building, and then word gets out, and then it's been very interesting since I've been on X, because I've been getting a lot of offers from other pageants, and they want to take me away, and I was like, no, don't you read, like, Miss Universe Canada all the way. This is my dream since I was a 2000 and when did Natalie Glebova, Miss Universe Canada, win? I watched her on TV.
Yes.
Right? And she was not typical. She was not. I know it's weird. It's weird to say that now, because she's one of the more notable queens at Miss Universe, in my opinion. I mean, I might be biased, and I do love Molly too, Miss Universe Venezuela. Molly, she was one of my favorites. But I remember thinking, so it is all about heart, because Natalie was definitely, and actually I have deets on this. So apparently during her reign, she went back and they did not want to crown her. They wanted the second runner up. And one of the, I shouldn't be saying this, but one of the judges fought for her tooth and nail, because they were like, no. And she was like, no, if you don't crown her, trust me. And sure enough, she went on to win the whole thing. Wow. And that's kind of when I feel like Miss Universe Canada started to embrace the unknown too, and be the different one, and be fearless in the face of everyone going that way, we go that way, kind of thing, right? So it was enlightening. And I remember sitting there in the living room and just saying, wow, because she was Russian Canadian.
Yep.
So she wasn't a typical, 5th, 6th generation Canadian. She was, I'm first generation. So that it made me think, hey, I can do it too. Representation matters.
Yeah. I remember a few years ago, there was a Miss Italy who was Black, and it was like created a bit of a controversy over there, because it's Miss Italy. Like, this is not a traditional Miss Italy. Are we still sending a Miss Italy? And it drawed up some conversation.
And I think that's the most powerful part, is it brings these conversations to the forefront. Like, what is normal? What is not? Should we care? Should we embrace the unique? Should we not? Canada in itself is a very young country, and we're still figuring out our identity.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel as if the queens do a tremendous amount to highlight the differences within Canada. We've had every single color now. Yeah. Is that appropriate to say? But we have had short, tall, big, small. Big. Not that. That one we're still working on, because when that girl went, and oh my gosh, they distorted her picture. Oh, what is her name? Drawing a blank. But she got a lot of hate online. So that's another reason why I went to X. I'm like, you guys, we can't do this again to our queens. Like, we already get so much flack from the other countries. We need to rally around our queen, because it's just so difficult. Because the Dominican Republic drama last year was just so disheartening. I was all over online, like, what? No, Ashley's amazing. Come on.
Right.
It's just, but it's, once again, it's because every country is like rallying around their queen. And then for some reason, I just talked to a lady at McDonald's, and she didn't even know, she's 70 years old, and she had no idea that Miss Universe Canada even existed.
Yeah.
Shocked. Shocking.
Mr. Grizzly, you were going to ask something, and I sort of jumped in there.
No, it's fine. I was going to actually, I wasn't about to ask something. I'm just like, I have to go, unfortunately.
Oh,
Okay.
It's 8:30 and I have to take my doggy out. She's getting desperate, and then I have to meet somebody for coffee. I have one more week where I've been doing this thing for a while I'm on the job search, meeting a colleague for coffee every morning around 9. So take the dog out at 8:30, meet my colleague, we have a coffee, we talk, shop. And now that I have a job, we're kind of like, well, that'll be winding down soon once I start the new job. So
congratulations on your new job.
well, thank you very much. It was it's been a year without work, so it's been tough.
Yeah. And he's
Makes
very,
you
very good
stronger.
at what he does too, which is amazing that he's been without a job for that
Well,
long.
I did get some job offers in my field, but they were lowball offers that I'm like, I'm sorry, no, I'm not. No, I'm not.
You
I'm
know
not.
your worth.
I know my worth, and I'm not working for that. That's absurd, And anyway, we're not here to talk about me. I do have to go. So thank you. It's been wonderful chatting with you, getting to know you, and hopefully you'll come back again and chat with us.
Yes, whatever you need. Whatever you need,
Talk
I'm
more
here.
about your advocacy and what you're doing with your platform, because we're all about trying to lift each other up and help those who really do need help.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Is it Cam? Is it Cam?
My middle name is Cam. So,
That's
but
so funny. Cam
yeah,
and Cam.
because you're Cam too, right? Exactly. But Douglas.
When he reached out, I was so excited. I'm like, yay. Oh, I appreciate it so much. There's so many of us, so it always feels like such a nice win. I'm like, yes.
Okay, well, you take care. Best of luck. Break a leg, kiddo, as they say in show business.
Thank you.
And I will see you all later. Take care.
All right. See you, sir. Yeah, the cam thing is really interesting, actually. A while ago, I used to swim competitively, not Olympic circuit, but Masters circuit, and we went to this meet in Ann Arbor on Queen Victoria Day. So I was dubbed Princess Camilla the First of Ann Arbor.
Very nice. Royalty.
Camilla. Okay, I have to ask, because everybody wonders about it. The walk. What makes a good walk? How much practice does it really take?
Hey, my first training, I had a babysitter when I was so young. I don't even remember how old it is, but I was under 10 years old, and she was a high fashion model, and she just happened to bring me along. So since I was 10, I've been focusing on my walk. I mean, I'm not going to say like every single year, like there's
Right.
been years where I was focusing on other things, but I've always had, I just love the walk. It's probably one of my favorite things, and I've been perfecting it. And I'm really hoping that this year everything goes off without a hitch, because it's not as easy as they make it look, especially when you're walking around in those platforms and people are like, well, why are you wearing those shoes? You don't have to. I'm like, I just like how it looks. It elongates my legs, and I've seen video on stage, and I just feel like it makes me look that much more powerful. I guess it just gives me the confidence I need, right? Whatever works for you. But there are so many videos now online. So back in the day when the internet it was more forums and not as much video. So there wasn't as much, I guess, material. But now it's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. So you don't actually have to go. Really, it just takes agency. Like, go practice. You need at least once a week. And then now we're getting 51 days, 50 days, so month and a half, not even. So just consistency and core balance. And I have been perfecting the details now, so my turns look smooth and they don't look disjointed, I guess. Right. And then also, okay, I don't want to show my nails right now because I have a massive injury, but so see, sometimes when you work out too hard, it's not all pretty, right?
Oh my.
working out and then my nail ripped, and now I'm going to get my nails in here soon. So great, everyone's going to see the injury now. This is on the line forever, but it's not
It's
all
the real
rainbows
stuff,
and
man.
it is ugly sometimes. Wait, is this one? Look, it's so ugly. Yeah. But I had to grow them out, and I'm getting some falsies placed on them. I wasn't paying attention. This is what I'm saying. I'm trying to be intentional with the walk,
Right.
so that it comes out in your presence.
Mhm.
And my greatest, I want to say what I no. So my strength is obviously swimsuit because I've done so much of it in Swimsuit USA. And I've been focusing more on my evening gown
Okay.
because you have to, I'm high energy. Let's go, let's go, let's go. So it's like, okay, slow down, close, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's a different ethereal vibe. Yes, centering myself and not being wobbly has been my main goal.
Okay.
But yeah, consistency and practice.
Because that would be, I assume it would be trickier because, I mean, swimsuit, I mean, you're very exposed, but things are usually tight fitting unless you have like some type of shawl or a wrap or something like that. But with a gown, sometimes you have a train. Sometimes the train gets under the heel. Sometimes the gown either opens or whatnot or has a flow that you got. The expression that we always say, at least our pageant drag queens, is you've got to work that dress. You can't have the dress work you.
Exactly. Right? And then they throw in a step with a uneven, last year, oh my gosh. So it wasn't just normal steps. And I got sick. So I was like, I was like, no. I was looking down. I did not want to fall. I just didn't. I already made so many mistakes, right? So I was like, no. But it was just this little lip and then a step.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. And one of the girls, so we have this choreographer, Gino. He's so lovely. And he's like, oh my God, preliminaries. I look over and the girl's falling. And I look away and I look back. She's still falling.
Oh.
And it happens. She made top 5 though. So it's always about how you get back up.
Okay.
But it's definitely you got to work that dress. Work it with confidence and look up. So it's like almost basketball, right? Like you got to look up and don't look at the ball and the feet. And it's a whole ordeal. I mean, there's a reason why there's so many influencers that focus in the pageant world slowly on walk, right? Because it's not easy. I mean, I've been wearing heels for a long time because in the hospitality, I preferred wearing the heel. It gave more. I'm 5'8", so with a heel, I become 6 feet. So it gives you that authority, yes. Right?
Heels and hair.
Yeah. So it was definitely one of those things where everyone was like, whoa, right? Whoa. Look, and I'm looking down, you. So it's not foreign, but then you bring in the stage lights, the steps, the formation, the hair flip, the what is it, the flow move. But you gotta with your, and then you have to incorporate everything. And then the steps is what I'm really working on, is that so it doesn't look, you just want it to flow.
Right. And plus then you got all the tension of the moment.
That's your moment.
You got
that's where you
going.
Shine. That's where you shine. Yes.
Okay.
Just like cozy it up in my blanket. Oh yes, it's so the light's finally coming out.
Can we dish a little?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I live for the awkward moment.
Sorry,
I live for the awkward moment.
Oh my gosh.
So, falls. Sometimes I would assume some people get hot and let's say their feet expand and the shoe doesn't fit, for example. And you got in a bucket of ice to try to shrink it down before going on.
Compression socks are a must. I don't know, some girls, I remember this one girl, I was shocked. I was like, is that a baby's foot? Because it you know, when it gets like blood going,
Right.
and she sends me a picture. I'm like, is that a baby's foot? She's like, that's mine. Because all the wrinkles and everything disappeared, and it's just this cute little baby foot looking thing. I'm like, how are we gonna put that in your shoe? So she ended up having to get another, like, she switched shoe sizes that year because it just all of a sudden her foot grew like a whole 2 sizes. It was crazy. But my crazy awkward moment last year, so I was sick, and it was just muscle memory at that point. You
Right.
know, I wasn't even there. I was like, okay, I know how to do this because I've done it before. And during our costume presentation, this is so embarrassing, I went left instead of right.
Oh no.
Okay. And the girl behind me, she came up to the mic too early. So if you're in theater, you know not to go up to the mic just in case someone like me happens.
Yeah.
But she was a little bit newer, so she was excited to go to the mic, and I went left. I should have went right. And when I went left, I did one of these, and I smacked her in the face. I'm so glad it was just prelim. I felt so bad because this girl hated, like, she didn't hate me, but she's like, girl, you need to. I'm like, how can I? I'm so sick. You need to be careful of me right now. Like, I don't even know what's left, right, or up and down right now, right?
Oh,
So
no.
I told her, I'm like, girl, I will do my best, but definitely not. Yeah, I wish you wouldn't have gone to the mic, but yeah, I hit her pretty hard, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like,
Full
and so it's
contact
just,
pageantry.
oh right.
Oh no. It's like
I
I
felt
just hip checked her under the
so
boards.
bad. I was just like, she went on to win Miss Photogenic, and she did very well. So I'm like, well, I was a villain in your story.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh, so
Uh,
funny.
how I would assume that when you're on that stage and you're waiting for the finalists to be announced, because when you get to the main show, and I believe the main show will be August 9th at
Yes,
noon.
and what they do in preliminaries, they only announce the fast track top 3 of the fast track winners.
Okay.
And then they announce the top fast tracks first. So you find out preliminaries if you made fast track or not,
Okay.
top 3. And then finals, we do our opening number. And that's when you finally find out if you make top 25.
Okay. So for
It's
everybody else, they're on stage for a very short time that night.
You do your evening gown parade, and I think they're going to do a swimsuit parade, but very short. You're pretty much just filler in the background, yes. And this is one of the deets, is that last year, so when you get announced, I think this is what really truly defines a pageant woman, girly, is that they come back after announcement. So last year we had 70, and then they announced top 25, and a lot of girls pack up and leave.
I was wondering about that specifically.
They
'Cause
do.
I've
I mean,
witnessed that myself in some of them. I've been to a pageant where I've seen somebody, they were being pumped up all season long. You know, it hasn't been from this region for a long time. It's our turn. We've heard the buzz like this. They said it's our turn. And this contestant had been led to believe that it was almost a sure thing. And when they didn't even make the cut for the final, they just like picked up all their stuff and left. So what's that like? Like when you sort of notice that vibe?
it happens every year.
Okay.
Whether it was, I noticed in internationals, at least at Susa, there's not as much, but at that level and how expensive everything is, and I honestly want to say it's a mentality. For me, I have been an athlete my whole life. I've experienced a lot of loss. I'm going to say I've lost more than I have won, 100%. Like, I have won, but you remember the losses.
Right.
And how do you carry yourself afterwards is the most important, very important. So when, those, obviously I'm devastated. I'm, but like I didn't make it last year. I was like, you know, it's just,
Yeah.
oh, like everything comes out. You're like, oh. So you go upstairs because they do the announcement and you have to change into something. I'm not really sure what it was, but I remember thinking, okay, this is when, you know, everything, because it's so emotional. You put
Right.
everything into it and then you get, if you're not, I'm telling you, it's very much, you need to learn how to be agent. Like it's self-agency. Like what are you going to take out of it regardless if you win or lose? It's very important. So when I remember last year, there were so many girls around me because we were stuck in like, they called it lipstick hall. It was a lipstick hallway.
Okay.
And so we had to go up like 3 flights of stairs and stairs were like this. And every girl's like, and I'm like, girls, put on your dress, put on that smile. You know how difficult it is in the pageant land, you know, sphere of like the Philippines and the big sash countries. We need to pull together and be a unit because that's honestly the most important. And it shows your character. And I understand some girls need more time, but I felt like last year I did my part and I went upstairs and I quickly got changed. Like, no, I'm going down and everyone else should come with me because I know what it is to feel like, I know what you're feeling.
Right.
I get it. So it wasn't as bad as I was expecting, but yeah, the top tier, we always have the top like ledge. It was like maybe 2 girls from the 12 that originally were on there.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's not you're not assigned at that point. So once they announce it, they're just like, go ahead and fill the spots in. So there were some girls that decided to leave. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you think within you that you need to do that, then you got to take care of yourself first, of course, right? Because then you can't take care of anybody. But for sure, I think it definitely defines some of the pageant girlies of their strength in adversity, because there's a lot of that. We don't show a lot of it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not supposed to.
Yeah.
So stay neutral, right?
Yeah. I imagine it's sort of like almost like award shows, you know, like this, the winner is not me. Right? How hard is that?
I mean, I was so excited for Ashley. I've been an Ashley Callingbull fan for so long, and being a part of I've been an ally for Indigenous my entire life, right?
Right.
Growing up in BC housing and all that kind of stuff, and my Indigenous Magyar roots really gravitated towards Indigenous people here because I saw a lot of Indigenous, like I just saw a reflection of me. I'm not brown. I can be brown. I'm gonna get a nice tan and I'll be brown too. but because my skin tone, I could be very, very fair if I'm not tanning. But then for some reason, if I go, like I'm actually quite dark right now comparatively to my photo, but it's just natural. I get into the sun and I get pretty brown. But it's just being that ally. And especially for Ashley, who's been through so much and had to fight to be a part of that scene. I don't know. Did you hear what Toronto Star published when she competed back in 20?
No, I did not.
20, I don't know. So before she aged out, Toronto Star it was the worst publication. It said something, looks like an Indigenous is competing. What is her talent? Like drinking and something very stereotypical. There's a really good interview with Ryan. I don't remember, but I was just, my heart. And the girls, some of the more, I guess, petty girls, they took that magazine, or was it a newspaper article? And it was front page. And they put it beside her bag and like, just some,
Okay.
Right.
So there is some psychological warfare of now and then.
I mean, I know Gino, our choreographer, has noted that Canadian pageant girlies have become nicer and have recognized their wrongs and are righting their rights for sure. And crowning Ashley, like coming from Winnipeg, that's why I didn't care. Everything got derailed for me last year. Like my gown never showed up. Like I got sick. Like the pageant gods did not want me to win. You know what I mean? It wasn't my time to
Right.
shine, right? And I was fine because honestly, I was just there fangirling Ashley from far, because I was so sick. I was like, no, she's gonna win. Like, I was definitely rooting for her. She was, especially coming from Winnipeg, like
Right.
this representation was so needed, and it just a whole I think there was 5 Aboriginal girlies just went to the premiere. So Wab Canoe, our premiere, what is her name? LaFontaine. She's family minister
Okay.
for Winnipeg. So she did this whole speech recently in Parliament, and she showed the strength of what representation can do. And it was just so nice to see them in their ribbon dresses and proud of their culture and not, shying away from who they truly are. So it's just been so remarkable and transformative for the Indigenous community. And I'm just so proud that I got to be a part of it, Oh, I just got goosebumps.
Yeah, I think you're speaking of Nahani LaFontaine.
Heidi LaFontaine. Yes. LaFontaine. She is, her Instagram, I love her Instagram. So good. So good. Yeah, she's breaking those barriers.
If I had to ask you, in your experience, what is the absolute most difficult thing about the pageant experience?
I want to go to being fearless in who you are.
Okay.
That's the whole just be yourself. It's easier said than done because you look at the winners and you automatically think, oh, I don't fit in. I think that's every girl's, especially in Canadian Miss Universe Canada, like the inclusivity. If you take a look at some of the headshots, they are nothing like what you see in the larger pageants international sphere, where it's very much, this is the Osmal, Osmal, what's his name? The pageant queen maker from Venezuela. He is now part of Miss Universe organization. Very much like, you need to veneers, long legs, big boobs, small waist, long, the typical, right? So you still see that in the industry, but it is definitely growing. But when you come in as a rookie and you think you fall into that pit of looking at what we present, right? Like what we want you to see, because it's a show, right? The show must go on. It must look fabulous. We're here to entertain. We're here to have a good time, after all.
Right.
The humanitarian, it is a huge part of our score. But when you're on stage, who's going to watch, let's be real, who's going to watch those speeches on how great we're doing? Like, it's just, that's not the real world. I live in the real world, and people want the escape. They want to cheer on, you going against your fears in that bikini. They want to see the bikini. They want to go, yeah, right? They don't want to hear, if they want to listen to a TEDx speaker at a pageant, they'll, it's just not, it's not that, right? So that is definitely the difficult part, is falling to the facade and thinking you're not good enough.
Okay.
For sure.
All right.
Yeah.
In your preparation, because it is coming up, what are the you're putting like the final touches on it? What are the things that you feel you need to put some polish on before you get on that stage this time around?
Listening before I answer,
Okay.
so that my answer is more succinct, because it is only 45 seconds.
Right.
And definitely, because I look good on stage. I know this because I've gotten 20 offers from 20 different systems. So it's definitely more looking inward. It's been the most difficult. And this pageant season, I have tried not to focus on how to create that, because I want to create that environment. This year, I'm solely looking inwards and really being not selfish, but self-full, so that every single thing is checked off and I'm prepared. So from the outfits to the hair to the gown, like my gown this year, it took me 2 years to secure her, but she's from Manitoba, local designer. My hair is local. So everything that I'm putting forth is from Canada. And that was the most important to me, because yes, I could easily go down to the States, and I've gotten some requests to, they want to help, but I'm like, I really need to focus on what's important to me. And to me, it is what is Canada and what can Canadians offer. So every single portion of my preparation has come from a Canadian. So I'm really proud of myself in that, because it took me 2 years to do. Last year I was like, it's just not working. It wasn't working. I couldn't get a Canadian designer. They were too busy, even some of what was it? It does. The point is that I'm very proud that I was able to fully do what I set out to do. And the only way I could do that is if I stick to what I'm looking inside and not worrying about the others' well-being. Although if a girl, one of my pageant sisters, reaches out, or I have seen some of the group chats where girls are, I don't want to say spiraling, but they're having more difficulty than me.
Right.
So if they do reach out, I will, but I'm not going to be I haven't been as looking for the other's struggles. So, does that make sense?
Yep.
Right. So because I have this notion in me, I'm just a caring, nurturing person, and I want everybody to have a good time. But if I'm focused again on everyone else, then I'm not focused on my own preparation. So this has been probably the most difficult, because my nature is, I want everyone to have a good time. Like, no, Cami, it's about you this time.
Yeah.
Focus on what you can do. And that's just, even saying that to me is like, oh, like little me? Come on. It's so hard to think. And then that's when the doubt goes into your mind. Like, am I worth it? Yes, I'm enough. Getting rid of those. Yes, I know I'm enough. I know I've done everything. I know I am Miss Universe Canada, if that makes sense.
Right.
And now it's my job to let the judges know that like I will do you proud, and that's that. And it's they always, there's this one question. They say, so if you had to choose, who would be your next Miss Universe Canada in the one-on-one judges? And that's a tricky one, because for me, I'm like, oh my God, I love her. No, you say you. Exactly.
And
no
why?
matter what they say. No, honey, it's me this year. You don't pick me. How many times are you going to keep doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results? Isn't that the definition of crazy? So
you got to tell people you want it.
Yes, this is the first time I'm like, no, I don't just want it. I know that I am the perfect fit. I know that if I win, I will help not just the company, but Canadians. And I do believe I have this natural magneticism where people want to support me. And that's why I'm so glad I met you online, because it goes to show I'm putting out who Cami really is. It's no longer just swimsuit Cami. It's Hungarian Canadian Cami with her humanitarian past and her love of Canadians, all Canadians, and it really is about showing Canada through me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that answer.
It's about me this year.
I like that.
I've decided. I'm winning.
I like that.
Yeah.
We're getting near the time, but I did wanted to ask you a question. For those who are considering entering pageant, okay, definitely do it. But as in many things, acting, modeling, that type of stuff, not everybody who presents themselves to you as wanting to help you actually wants to be helpful. So
Yeah.
if you are a contestant and you're hopeful and you're young and starting out, or if you're a parent and you have children that want to go into that, what do you need to be on the lookout for? What are some red flags?
Definitely what you just told me, your story of your friend who got so upset because they were led to believe that it was theirs. So when new talent, and I've been in the industry a very long time, and not just Hollywood, but my family's name is actually quite prominent in Hungary, and my cousin is a high fashion model. My brother owns his own film. Like, we're in the industry.
Right.
So the number one advice I would give is, if somebody wants you, they're not going to ask you for money. They're going to want you for you. And I noticed that a lot of these new, and I'm not saying it's bad, because I understand, there is an industry and we have to make money, but you have to understand, if there's somebody who is trying to get your money, there are ulterior motives. And I have noticed some girls that somehow get into my vicinity, and all they can do is talk badly about their entire process, and then I have to slow them down. And I notice that they're so wrapped up in it, and this almost victim mentality, and not realizing that that mentality is in itself sabotaging them.
Right.
But I mean, that's what it is. If they want you, like, you do not have to pay, right?
Okay.
And I'm not saying, if you're a high achieving woman and you do have good grades and you're just naturally high achieving, you will seek out the experts, right? But
Right.
that's where it's different. So if you're seeking out expert advice, that's different. Go ahead and pay for that expert advice if they have money, because everybody has to eat, right?
Right.
But if someone's coming to you saying, hey, I can help you, look at my this, that, and whatever, here's a contract to sign, and you read the contract and it says, oh, pay me this, red flag. It's like, well,
Okay.
if you were a part of the organization, why aren't you anymore?
Mhm.
Right? So there's always reasons. I think that's definitely what to look out for. And focusing on what you want to bring out on a world stage. For sure. And for me, there's this whole notion of, you have to be polished. I'm like, yes, you have to be polished, but what kind of polishing are we talking about? Polishing on a different person's perspective, or polishing you as who you are, right?
Mhm.
Right. And if the judges didn't want you at that point of time, then it wasn't meant for you, right? It's
So
definitely acceptance too.
So a little bit of beware of people who ask you for money, and beware of people who want to change you.
Yeah. Yeah, because they know best, And it's like, well, there's no formula to win a crown. There really isn't. There's only one crown. And this year, 90 of us.
Mhm.
Right. So, right. It's just interesting, because this one girl just messaged me and she's like, somebody just reached out to me, and, and then it turns out the contract thing, and she was so disappointed. I'm like, girl, trust me, everybody's not suffering, but as of right now, economically in Canada, it's very difficult. So a lot of the people who are trying to see, it's almost like fresh and new and shiny.
Right.
Oh, fresh and new and shiny. Does that also mean naive? Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Right? But sometimes it does. And that's when you see, the Justin Biebers of this world. He got taken up for everything he is, and then now look at him. He's crashing out on the internet saying, F you, I'm angry and I'm going to stay angry, right? So it really is about protecting you, because there are takers in this world. You have to realize. And especially if you're like, I'm not symmetrical, So I'm not Miss Photogenic in that sense.
Okay.
Because when a Miss Photogenic wins, it's usually a very symmetrical girl who has perfect symmetrical features.
Right.
And last year, I called it. I'm very good at picking out like who's gonna win what's your award, and I called a lot. I was like, yeah. I told her too. I was like, girl, you're gonna win Miss Universe. You're gonna win Miss Photogenic. She looks at me like, no. Like, yeah, girl. Like, come on. How do you not know? Like, even me. I'm like, yeah, her. Right. So it's that new and shiny. Right. And then if you're not protecting, then it's very easy to get lost in the sauce, if that makes sense.
All right.
Don't get lost in the sauce.
Now, I need your expert opinion on something because I know the members of the Damn Fam will probably chastise me if I do not ask you that. I have an alter ego, your Royale with cheese, Queen Beaver. And I know that means you need to bring the bling. So, from one queen to another, I need your opinion. What is this crown?
Sorry, what?
On a scale from 1 to 10, how does this crown rate?
Oh, I'm going to say 11. I love all crown. I love how tall it is. Just blingy. Can you put it on? You have to put it on.
Well, it doesn't really stay on all that well, unfortunately, and then it like pulls all my hair when I'm trying to take it off. But there we go. It's about as best as I can get it for now, because I can't actually take my hands off it without any of the pins or anything.
Looks so good. Do the wave.
There goes the hair. So, decent crown fit for a queen?
I think it's beautiful. I'm just reading the chat right now. And it looks like we need to clarify certain things.
Okay.
What's she saying?
Yeah, ask her how to fix that crown, indeed. How do I put it on and make sure it doesn't move? Probably involves a lot of bobby pins.
Scrolling there's so many. I feel so bad. We just
ignored that's quite all right. That's quite all right. That's absolutely quite all right. The last thing I wanted to ask you before we do go, it's you mentioned that there are some fast tracks, and People's Choice is the one that you are going for. So if the members of the Damn Fam would be so inclined to want to support you and give you their vote for People's Choice, how would they go about doing that?
Actually, it's the Miss Universe Canada app. You can download it on the App Store or Google Store. And then once downloaded, at the very bottom, it says voting and delegates. To vote, you click on the voting part. You scroll down to, I think I'm number 39 right now. And you just click on the picture. And then that first vote is free. And that's when, you can also pay if you want to support more with more votes. But I'm not expecting anyone to do that. Your first free vote is perfectly good for me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, good.
Do we have time to answer some of these questions? I would really like to.
If you got some, yeah, absolutely.
Which one do you think we should answer first?
Well,
sarcasm. Yes, sarcasm.
I'm not sure if there's any I can see right here close in the chat. Because the chat scrolls by, so we probably missed some of the questions along the way.
I did. I think I just saw Orban, the political question, what I'd love to answer. Because I am...
If you would like to speak to it, but I don't necessarily also want to create a situation where as a contestant... Right.
I'm just going to say no. No. Just, it's not about... He's a very controversial figure, and a lot of people want to see him out for sure. It's just what I was trying to say is that our culture is disappearing. It's just unfortunate. And I'm not saying, right.
Not necessarily saying that he's the right way to go about preserving it, but that it's still important.
He has his ideals and ideas, but it does seem like somebody new is going to be coming into power because Hungary's he's been in power for a very long time. Mm-hmm. So, not every end of an era must come, but it's just the the Hungarian culture, which has already been so erased already. So I'm very trying to bring back the Hungarian lore. And I was wanting to talk about, for example, how the moon and the sun. So the moon is technically feminine in Hungarian culture.
Okay.
I mean, yes, moon is feminine with the happy lady,
Mhm.
which then turned into the Blessed Mother Virgin. I don't know how, but pre-Christian values, it was paganism, right? So
Right.
it's very interesting how it morphed into what it is today. And then the sun is actually has masculine identity. So I identify with being the moon, and I'm
Mhm.
looking for my son. If that makes so
Yes.
that's in a sense what I was trying to talk to. So actually, there's a side project that I've been really interested in. I'm thinking of making a new tarot card deck, but based in Hungarian lore and mythological creatures. So with like the Hungarian tree, it's the tree of life, and
Right.
the bird, which is the turtle bird that guides. So it's usually depicted like a hawk-like character bird, but in I think on top of the parliament, it looks like an evil vulture looking thing. So really depending on the time it's made. And then we have in the underworld, we had the magical deer. That's the guide. So if per se you're going through some sort of depression, like it's the magical deer that actually leads you out with all those tests upon your psyche. So it's missing. So as I was working with Grok, and I was like, this is actually a really good idea because this whole new age is really popular right now. So I'm thinking, why not make my own deck and put some new twist on it? And then I do tarot often because I find it so insightful and it's a lot of fun. And I let my son pick cards and I ask him, I'm like, what do you think of this card? And ironically, it was the Tower card. Are you familiar?
A little bit, yes.
Okay, so the tower card depicted in classical tarot is a tower. And he's looking and he's like, Mom, this is confused because it's supposed to be a tree. And I'm like, how do you know this? Like, I'm not telling him this. And then he turns the card up and down. He's like, look, now they're happy. Now they're sad. Now they're happy. And then he's like, that's not fire. Those are leaves. I was like, so that's where the idea came from. Like, you know what? Let's do this. So that's when when I'm talking about preserving Hungarian
Right.
culture, it's that they burnt the witches at the stake, right? Like, no, like the witches were meant to be celebrated. They weren't witches. They were celebrated and looked at in wonderful ways. And there's even, the whole LGBTQ community back in the day. It was never seen as a problem. It was
Right.
seen, they were literally put on high councils, right? They were seen as unique and special and offer a different perspective that the average woman or man couldn't offer because they were unique in this sense and not a problem to be fixed. So that does come from Hungary. So it's kind of interesting where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
In the political sense, right?
Right. And there are lots of similar links to it, to Indigenous culture in Canada that way.
Right. Hence why I'm very, very, I mean, I don't want to take away from their culture because it's unique in itself, but I do appreciate it and I do love it for sure. For sure. So I hope I answered that question because no, I love everybody.
Yes. I'm glad that you did bring it up because normally we do more politics and we would have maybe gone into that. But again, wanting to be sure as hosts that we allowed you to shine and not do anything that would detract from your mission to become Miss Universe Canada.
Oh my God, this one's so funny. My partner has a PJ addiction. She must have 10 different pajama sets. If it's flanner and has a cute pattern. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, that's such a good addiction, though. Who doesn't want to be cute and cozy?
Right?
I like that. I like that.
Ah, Kamilla.
These are such good questions,
Right.
but you said we have time,
No,
right?
go ahead. Yeah, we have time. Absolutely. If you have the
Okay.
time, let's do them.
Oh, here, see, someone's resonating what I said. Carol, my therapist, said the same to me. I put everyone else first and get overwhelmed and frustrated and end up in my own grumpy box. Exactly. This is definitely, as healers. You're definitely a healer, Miss Sarika.
Oh, Mihalik, who also has a Hungarian background, by the way.
Oh, hey! So nice to meet you. Yes, and it's in our nature. Hungarians are very, very willing. I mean, if you look at the past, I think I saw that too. There's not one family in Hungary that lost somebody to the Nazi regime, whether it be, I mean, it's coming out right now. There's a huge portion of our population that had to change names and hide, and a lot of them hid Jewish families. And then there was also, what was it? They, in order to be safe, they just completely just dismissed it all, changed names and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it's so crazy. It's just a crazy time we're living in, that all this truth is coming to light and everyone's going through the information and sifting it. This is actually why I very much so advocate for AI, because this way you could put it into AI, both sides, with stats, right? So you can find both sides of the argument and come up with a decision yourself, because they don't have all the answers, but at least you can sift through all this information really quickly to get some sort of coherent thought on a controversial topic, and then, you know, make an opinion for yourself. And I think only with knowledge and education is when we can actually progress as a nation. Very, very hard. Very interesting times. What is it? The cream rises to the top, y'all. We got this. What is it? The damn fam. Is it the damn
fam? Yeah, the beaver.
I
lunch,
love
so
it. I love it. Oh, there's another one of all. I just love it all.
Yes, I'm sure if once the show is on YouTube, it takes about a day, but the following day all the chat is there, and you'd be able to read all the comments and see what people have
right. Oh my gosh, this is all going to be online. Woo!
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Exciting. Yes, and if any of you do want to reach out, I'm on X most times because I'm really interested in the Canadian ethos that is X, and for some reason my posts just do much better on that platform than it does in Instagram. I think it's because it's so saturated with so many pageant. The pageant community heavily relies on Instagram and Facebook, so my posts get lost in the algorithm. But whereas in X, there's not much. So definitely come give me a follow. I will definitely answer. I enjoy connecting with fellow Canadians, and yes, tell me how I did. I appreciate it.
All right.
Yes, right there. It would really be careful relying on AI for hysterical information. Yes, exactly. It is so wrong. Especially the one Elon Musk built. Oh, that darn Musk. He's half Canadian. Okay. Oh my gosh. I could gab about this guy for so long. You know, all of his women are Canadian.
That's true. Grimes and yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. It's true.
Yes.
I never actually noticed that.
Right.
Kits and Cubs, the handle Miss Mihalik is there on the screen if you would like to be able to follow our guest on their Twitter feed. Kamilla, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much. And thank you, Damn Fan, for listening. I really appreciate your input. Like, honestly.
All right. Thank you for making time, and especially getting up this early in the morning to be with us. Yes, we are definitely sending all of our good energy and our good vibes your way so that you have a fantastic experience regardless of the result. But we are pulling for you to have a very good result. If not the victory, hopefully the victory, but if not the victory, at least a result that you can be proud of. So when you leave that stage, you say, I gave my best, and then I let
Yes.
go, and whatever happened, happened.
Yes. I agree. I really appreciate it. I really, really do. It's been
But I have
so
a
fun.
feeling you'll do You'll do fine.
Ah,
You're fabulous.
you're fabulous. Ah, let's
All
just
right.
lather each other for another hour. Okay.
Do you have a final word that you would like to leave our audience with so that they can take that with them?
Thank you. Just thank you. Gratitude and light, everybody. I know it's hard right now. I really know it's hard. So I just really appreciate your time, taking the time out of your day to come listen to little old me. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for thinking enough of us to wanting to make time to speak with us as well.
Yes.
Wishing you a most lovely day, great preparation, and we will be following your feed. Do keep us abreast of how things are going and how you're doing, and hopefully, you'll be able to come back as
Yes.
Miss Universe
Yes.
Canada
Yes.
and show us that
would
bling.
be amazing. A new crown and sash. We're getting
The
a new
whole
crown
thing.
this year.
Yep. All right. Mwah. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Kids and Cubs. There we go. Kamilla Mihalik, contestant hopeful for Miss Universe Canada 2025. And for those of you who are interested in the event itself, it will be taking place in Windsor, Ontario. There are some, I guess, pre-contest events, as our guest said, that would start as early as the 5th. But the preliminary competition itself will start on August 7th, with the final competition being taking place on August 9th itself. It will be taking place at the Crystal Theatre at St. Clair College in Windsor. So you might want to look at that. For tickets, I will put it in the chat here for the kids and cubs who are watching live. And therefore, if you would like to do that, and if you happen to be in town and would like to go see it, this is the link here so that you can go get the tickets. And hopefully, if you do get to go, now you will know someone on stage and you'll be able to give a little extra whoop whoop. There you go. Kits and Cubs, that's the end of this episode of the True North Eager Beaver Interview Project. We hope that you love listening to us because we loved making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. Really helps us when you do. Now, if you would like to not miss an episode because maybe like Miss Mihalik, you are an engaged citizen, you're on the go doing some humanitarian good work, and you can't always sit in front of the computer to watch us. Well, we are portable. Take us with you. Get our ears only version in podcast form. And you can do that by going to our pod page, podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, or if you happen to be online, just scan that QR code made available to us by the Ray Girl who sponsors it. If you go there and click subscribe when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, zip, comes directly to your podcast feed. You don't even have to go looking for it because we like to help. If you're listening to us on podcast and you have the ability to give us stars and reviews, we won't tell you how many. Please do, because that helps us with the algorithm. Now, if you would like to help us in other ways, Kits Cassie and Kit Elaine will definitely be beckoning you to grab your surfboard and surf on down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page. That QR code that just appeared in the corner will bring you right there. And if you go there, we have not one, not two, but 3 buttons for you. Like, share, subscribe, give them a little tickle. It's Pride season. Get a little frisky. We don't judge. It makes us very happy when you do. And when you do, that too helps us with the algorithm. So thanks for that. If you would like to help us in yet another way, kids and cubs, well, we have a way for you to do that because we do incur some costs to bring the show to you. If you would like to help us with that, with an enthusiastic expression of encouragement, that QR code that just appeared will bring you to our coffee page. That's coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver. And that's where you can make your contribution to our emergency hydration fund to ensure that you do your part to fight the scourge that is dry beaver. We must always do what we can to keep our beaver moist. All right, kids and cubs. And in that vein, a big thank you to a lovely kid who yesterday made a donation to us. I'm just trying to find the message here. Kit T. Thank you so much, good friend. Stating here, not always as present as much as I would like, but always appreciate your presence hosting the Damn Fam at the Lodge. Now, also appreciating your coffee letters, or basically our editorials. Keep on keeping on. And for those of you who are not aware, Kits and Cubs, we have started producing editorial content, so articles in written form that are on our coffee page, and then we put on our web page, on our social feeds, and all the other places that we're present. But if you are not yet a member of our coffee page, again, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word, please go there. And when we have our editorial appear, you will be the first to get them and be able to read them, because it's a new initiative. If you are able to share them far and wide, we would very much appreciate that. Thank you so very much. So we have 2 out, and I'll be writing another one later today. Okay, let's see. That's all the housekeeping stuff, kits and cubs, because democracy is something that you do. If you are able to support the Canadian Mental Health Association, which is the humanitarian project for Miss Canada Universe 2025, we would be very grateful if you are able to do that, because, well, as you know, on our show, mental health is something that we very much promote. Taking care of your mental health, taking time to talk about it, taking time for self-care. So we're going to put it right here on the screen. And if you are listening, it is windsoressex.cmha.ca/events/Miss Universe Canada, with a hyphen between Miss Universe and Canada. And there you can make a donation to help our hopeful to be able to meet her goal. I believe that the organizers of the contestants of the contest are hoping that each contestant is able to raise about $5,000 on their own for the CMHA. So if you would like to be able to help with that, that would be absolutely fantastic. And of course, we appreciate it. Words of wisdom. I think I'm going to defer a bit to our guest today. Just be yourself. It's much easier said than done. But if you have the opportunity, yes, take some time, just be yourself, and just allow yourself to shine and sparkle. And when you do, the people who matter will see you. Kids and cubs, it can be a tough world out there. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself. Now, on the count of 3, audience participation, all together, Mr. Beaver, please cue the cock on 1, 2, 3. Oh, it was near symphonic, kids and cuds, near symphonic. As your queen, I live to serve. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music. All right, kids and cubs. Just a little bit of Canadians who make us proud today. Share with you two of our tennis players, Felix Auger Aliassime and Denis Shapovalov, who are playing together in doubles in Halle, Germany at the moment, have reached the semifinals of the double tournament with an impressive victory earlier this morning. And for those of you who are cheering on our under 16 women's basketball team taking part in the big Americas tournament going on, well, Team Canada had another wonderful performance yesterday, defeating Mexico 76-51. So they have a perfect record, and they will be playing Panama later on today. And also, kids and cubs, in the world of soccer, for those of you who are a big fan of that, we have the big CONCACAF Gold Cup tournament going on. And yesterday, Team Canada took on Team Honduras in their first match on their quest to win the Gold Cup. And it was a very resounding victory, 6-0 for Team Canada. So that is the news that we have for you today. Give a little cheer, wave a little flag. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you again tomorrow. Until then, amour et bisous. Bye, everyone.